In an interview this week, President Trump was challenged on his assertion that he was, quote, starting to get great polls on the economy. He then backtracked, saying the polling should be great. So what are the polls saying? CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten joining me now. Where do Americans think the economy is going right now?
Yeah, here is the reality check for everyone. And I would just say this is the problem for the President of the United States. You get elected to fix the economy, and the American people, they ain't buying it, because just take a look here. Say the economy is getting worse. Right after Donald Trump was elected back in 2024, re-elected, 42% of Americans said the economy is getting worse. Well, you want that number to go down. You want that number to go down if you're the President of the United States. Instead, it's going up. What are we talking about? Now, 55% of Americans say that the economy is getting worse. I don't know how you win when the majority of Americans say the economy is getting worse, because you go back through the record books, and that is a formula that equals failure.
And what do Americans want Trump to focus on the most?
Yeah, this, I think, is the whole kit and caboodle, right? Much of the news stories over the month of January were focused in on Minneapolis, focusing in on controlling immigration and reducing crime. Those are two things that the President of the United States and his administration has been arguing about. But where do the American folks say that Trump should be focused? Say their top priority should be lowering prices, 54%, the clear majority. We have looked at poll after poll after poll after poll after poll. I'm exhausting myself just talking about it. And every single poll say that their top priority should be lowering prices or the economy. And it is still the case. Much lower down, controlling immigration at 22%. Even lower than that, reducing crime at 10%. You add together 22 and 10, you get to 32. Yeah. And you don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that 54 is larger than 32. The Trump administration is putting their focus on the wrong issues, the issues that are not most important to the American public. And when you are focusing on the wrong issues, and the vast majority of Americans, or the clear majority of Americans, say that the economy is getting worse, again, this is X plus Y equals failure. Failure, failure, failure going into the midterm elections, because Donald Trump was elected to fix the economy, and it's still belief in the American people that lowering prices should be the top. And at this point, 55% say the economy is getting worse.
So I guess the question, as we get closer and closer to the midterms, which party do people trust, knowing how they feel about how Donald Trump has handled things when it comes to the economy?
Right. The economy, right? Affordability. You know, Donald Trump has been dismissing affordability concerns. But when 54% say the top priority should be lowering prices, not much of a surprise, right? Party trusted more in affordability. Overall, it's the Democrats by 14%. Look at this. Among independents, I'm laughing. It's 39 points. It's a blowout. This is the entire ball game right here. And when you're having a 39-point lead among independents, a 14-point lead overall on affordability, and right now the top priority, the Americans say, should be lowering prices for the Trump administration, this is the type of formula that equals major success for the Democrats come the midterms, if it holds.
And we have seen that in the special elections. We'll see if that holds in the midterms.
We shall see, Sarah.
Harry Enten, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
As the world turns.
The new poll from KFF shows healthcare tops the public's list of economic anxieties. People say they worry more about the cost of health insurance and prescription drugs than groceries or rent, utilities, and gas. My panel is back now. Elena?
Yeah, look, what I find so fascinating about this, and particularly when you reference that poll, is that in the broader spectrum of how the president looks at this, he is obsessed with wanting to put not only his imprint, but Republicans at large, some sort of imprint on healthcare. He hates that this is an issue that Democrats have owned and Republicans have failed out for so many years. He still, even in the recent months, has brought up the McCain downvote about, trying to repeal and replace Obamacare. So that's part of this. The other thing is he is obsessed with this idea of trying to make drugs more affordable. It is going to be interesting to see if this actually is the case, if these drugs do end up, as Tammy laid out, being more cost effective for a lot of consumers rather than their insurance. I think, the fact that he's calling it Trump RX, that's something else I've heard. If Republicans end up doing some broader health care plan, he wants to have it be Trump Care or something like that. But at the end of the day, this is something he wants Republicans to be talking about. Interesting enough, I know, Sabrina, you'll probably weigh in on this. Republicans, at least when it comes to politics in the midterms, do not want healthcare to be one of the things that is a central focus. So just keeping that in mind as we look at all of this.
Yeah, I mean, to Elena's point, I think what's interesting is, they want to show that they care about affordability. This is a really tangible way to do that, but we know that Democrats have consistently dominated on this issue. And for a lot of folks who last year lost the Obamacare subsidies and are actually feeling the impact of, higher premiums, it is interesting. It will be interesting to see how that plays out in the midterms. I think we talked a lot about it late last year as that expiration was coming around, but I think the repercussions of that and how Democrats capitalize on that is something we're going to be talking about in the months to come.
Yeah, I mean, Democrats won back the majority in the president's first term talking about health care, and they are determined to do the same now. Joining me now is the man who coined strong floor, no ceiling. It is, as you see there, the name of his book. Oliver Libby is a venture capitalist and Democratic donor and is here with me now. Thank you so much for being here. First of all, how did this slogan, the title of your book, make its way to Hakeem Jeffries?
It came to him through a number of people who heard that I was writing the book. I had shared a manuscript with a number of people I respect in the party, and actually he offered to write a testimonial, which you can find right at the beginning of the book. And when I first heard him say it on television, it was actually a surprise to me. I started writing the book, Dana, about 8 years ago, and it was really just a place for me to put all the ideas that I wished would be America, when we could relight the American dream, which is something I worry about all the time as one of our greatest national security threats. And so to hear Leader Jeffries take this up was an extraordinary moment.
So when people hear us saying strong floor, no ceiling, how do you explain it?
It's simple. And actually, one of my favorite things about this is when people see the book and they know it's about America and politics, they get it at their core. A strong floor is a floor made up of planks that we all know and understand. We want affordability. We want healthcare and education. We want housing and good paying jobs, safe and secure homes. Those are the things that are the building blocks of opportunity. But in America, it can't stop there. And I think every American wants to believe that if they work hard and play by the rules and pay their taxes, that they can have the good life. They can be in the middle class and maybe even go far beyond that. That's actually the way we increase the economic pie. And so it weaves in today to some of the core themes, affordability. But look, here's one important thing. I think if folks are not happy with the current leadership and the Trump administration, we have never had a seismic shift in American politics without a positive and hopeful message that says what we want for America, not what we don't want. Whether it was the contract with America or 6 for 06 or for the people, there was always something hopeful, something people could vote for, not just against. And so I think we need that today.
Yeah, and so you're hoping that this book, which again isn't just the title, obviously, it lays out a prescription, a roadmap that you think on various issues dealing with affordability. We put this poll up in another segment earlier as it related to the president's new Trump RX website, but I want to show it to you as it relates to your argument. You see there the affordability concerns. What people are the most worried about, healthcare, is ahead of everything else, and those are also pretty high. But the fact that healthcare is so high, your proposal for a strong floor on healthcare initiatives is a universal single-payer health insurance plan. Long-time goal of progressives, but it is definitely something that President Obama, when he did Obamacare, was pressured to do, and he shied away from it because he couldn't get support even among Democrats. And back then, I was covering it, there were 60 Senate Democrats.
But I think, look, you heard the president today talk about the fact that healthcare is broken. We know that healthcare is broken. Everybody knows that healthcare is broken. So, sure, a single payer, a public option is really important, but actually the whole chapter is filled with ideas. There should be a tax credit for seeing your doctor every year. And that's something that we're using an incentive, an economic incentive, to help reduce the overall cost of healthcare, because a lot of people only get
preventative medicine.
Exactly. Go to the hospital when you're really sick. But I'm really glad you raised polling. We've actually been in battleground states, in Michigan and Georgia, and actually your viewers are the first to hear this. And we've asked folks, we never did this during the writing of the book, but now that it's out there, we asked folks what they think about strong floor, no ceiling. And what's amazing to me is it's extremely popular, high 70s, 80s for moving voters. It's something something that voters find inspiring. But what's interesting to me is both legs of strong floor and no ceiling polled in the high 90s in both states. And we're publishing this polling so you can see it. What that means to me is people understand, whatever solutions haven't worked in the past, we have big problems here. People can't afford their lives. 27% of Americans believe that there's an American dream. There's no 9/11 or Pearl Harbor that can destroy America. That can. And so if people believe, hopefully, that we can do a strong floor with no ceiling, then we have the hope to relight the American dream.